Welcome back to the Zero Doubt podcast, where breakthroughs are born from the bold choices to do inner work. Today's episode is a powerful one. I sit down with Amanda Tomecko, a Cleveland native, trauma survivor, and breathwork guide in training. After being robbed at gunpoint, Amanda's life was shaken, but instead of shutting down, she woke up. From navigating Epstein-Barr virus to rediscovering faith and finding healing through somatic breathwork, Amanda shares her raw, real journey of reclaiming her body, her voice, and her power. This isn't just about trauma, it's about what happens after. The messy, beautiful, transformational path to wholesome. Let's dive in. What's up, Amanda?
Nothing. I'm excited to be here today
Yeah?
with you.
Tell me more. What was the inspiration?
Well, we connected, I think, through Instagram, which is how I've been able to make a lot of my connections on this healing journey. We just happened to find each other, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how it kind of works?
Yeah, and that's a good thing because, a lot of us use social media for like kind of the wrong things, not necessarily the wrong things, but they do take away energy. And then there's also the other awesome thing with social media, and that's being able to connect people with people that you otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I attended one of your networking events at the studio in Eaton, right? And I got there a little bit late, but I ended up connecting with all the perfect people as anticipated. I guess it was
Yeah.
even better than I anticipated. And I was talking with a naturopath that was there.
Yep.
And his name is Colin.
Colin,
Miller.
yeah, me and him are like this.
Yeah, he's my doctor now.
Oh, are you serious? Wait, I didn't know that you go see Colin?
Yes, I do go see Colin. Wow. We have had discussions about what we're going to do with his social media and everything, just because I think his work is so wonderful. And
Yeah.
I was looking for, it was, crazy how things happen. I was looking for a naturopath and he was looking for some social media help. So naturally we came together, and I've seen him a couple times now.
Yeah, that's amazing. What have you guys done?
Yeah, my main focus was I've been dealing with Epstein-Barr virus. I feel like a lot of people don't know about this. A lot of us have it. It is technically a herpes virus, so it stays in your blood forever. I don't know when I contracted it, but I was in Colorado on a big hiking trip with my best friend a couple years ago, and just feeling extremely run down. My lymph nodes were definitely swollen and kind of felt like they were on fire. And I'm like, something is not right here. So I went to the Cleveland Clinic and had blood test after blood test after blood test done, and everything came back great until finally my one doctor at the time, she was just, someone I was seeing at like an In-N-Out Cleveland Clinic downtown when I was living there. She tested me for Epstein-Barr and mono. So EBV is short for Epstein-Barr. It's the virus that causes mono. So tested positive for EBV, negative for mono, and kind of went down this rabbit hole of how to start healing this. And I knew I wanted to go the holistic route. I wanted to rule out cancer and things like that, which technically it's not ruled out yet, although I think I'm feeling okay. I think I would maybe know if it was something really, really serious like that.
But are you feeling something now? Different?
So yeah, it kind of reactivates. That's how the virus works. So sometimes it'll be lying dormant and I'll have no symptoms. And then other times when you're stressed or lack of sleep and just different things like that can cause it to reactivate. So.
And then what happens?
Yeah, I mean, it manifests for me in my lymph nodes. That's kind of what happens. There's fatigue involved. Not really anything else, but this constant burning has been a concern, right?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and I just know my body so well at this point physically that I knew something was wrong. So, long story short, the clinic was kind of pinballing me around back and forth, and I ended up meeting Colin. So that's primarily what our work is, and he focuses on the root cause of things. So we went back to when I was born, how I was born, whether you're breastfed, like all these things. And I think we're trying to connect it to the gut health. I've had some gut issues as well. But over the years, through stress reduction and calming of my nervous system, my gut has improved naturally. And yeah, so it's it's a journey like
It's
anything
it's a
else.
journey. It's an amazing how it's all connected. Like you got this virus 2 years ago. You were working with the clinic, obviously not too satisfied with them. Shocker. And then you meet Colin through a networking event. Now you're doing this, but you're also doing other work, and it's all like part of it.
Yeah, it's been just what I'm saying. Like these connections that you make are just so natural and effortless and feel so aligned that, when you are feeling that unalignment, it's so uncomfortable. And especially if you're not tapped into your body, you you keep doing things unconsciously and you're not able to make those connections that are going to push you to the next, level in business or whatever, but even health wise, right? Like,
Yeah. No, that's a great point. If you're conscious, then you can make the necessary changes to get out of it. Like I don't even consider like you have something right now that is given a label, right, by society, but it could just be like the universe nudging you, be like, you just have to meet Colin, or you have to do this kind of like trauma healing from generational stuff. Like we don't have the big picture, but stuff like that is happening.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And the pieces just come together when you're open to receiving them. And I think I was closed off for a really long time, and I don't know. Should we get into the
Well,
main
yeah, I
reason
mean,
why?
I think most of us, 98% are closed off for a long time. Yeah. Some souls are born like knowing, okay, I'm more than just a human.
Yeah, and then it's wonderful and amazing when we can find that miraculously, I guess I would say. But I think most of us do have a catalyst moment or event or something really difficult that we go through that wakes us up. And for what has woken me up, I'm very grateful. And yeah, I think we should.
Yeah,
Start
what was
talking
the
about the
wake up
catalyst.
event?
So I am a lifelong Clevelander. I'm from Parma. I went to college at Cleveland State, so I lived there for a couple years, moved to Lakewood, and then made the final move back into an apartment in downtown Cleveland on the west bank of the Flats. I lived there for 3 years with one of my longest friends, and one night, it was a Wednesday, I was coming home from work, so I went to the office. I'm a paralegal. That's my main gig right now. So I was at the office, went to the gym, went to a buddy's house after, and we were hanging out, getting into some things on a Wednesday night that we probably shouldn't have, smoking, just doing unconscious things out of habit, staying out late, these things that I knew were a problem, but not necessarily life-threatening until it was. So I drove back to my apartment downtown from North Royalton, I think it was, and it was about 11:30 or midnight. And I'm going to park outside, maybe 100 feet from my front door that I've walked in and out of 1,000 times. But I will say my gut knew that something was going to happen, and I didn't listen to it. I FaceTimed our security guard. He was so amazing. We had a nice relationship. We were good friends and like very protective energy. So I FaceTimed him and I'm like, hey, Kevin, I feel like something's a little bit off. I'd called him a couple times before, previously for when I was feeling something. And this was the time that it was going to happen. So I get out of my car and next thing I know, I turn around and I'm being run up on from behind, flanked essentially from the left and the right by two young kids with a gun. And I was robbed at gunpoint of basically everything except my gym bag. So yeah,
that's good though.
Yeah, right. I know.
Gym bag.
Yeah, there was a lot of things in there that I didn't have to replace, but yeah, it was obviously a terrifying event. That was the catalyst moment. Luckily I wasn't physically harmed, but the mental damage that did, as you can imagine, was extreme. And I didn't know it was the catalyst at the time because it felt like the end. And now in hindsight, it was just the beginning of me finding not like a new person, but this new version of who I already was trying to step into. It just wasn't intense. I wasn't experiencing anything intense enough to really push me to that next level of who I was going to become.
Yeah. It was like your breaking point, your inflection point where, okay, this is it. Like you're switching your reality. This happened. Now what? So what'd you do?
Yeah, so I gave everything up. I didn't fight. I turned around and felt like I was floating away. I think I was protected by God in that moment, and I grew up Catholic, and so I was away from my faith for a long time, you know, kind of going toward the other side of things. Read some Stephen Hawking books in college and like really took that side of things. I graduated with a psychology degree, so I was kind of stuck in between of like what I really truly believe or what I feel. So that also was something that I'm grateful for because of that, because it really reconnected me to that divine protection that I believe that we all have. So yeah, I never stayed in the apartment again after that night. My dad came and consoled me. I was inconsolable for many, many nights, and nights turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. I took a month and a half off of work, which they were so wonderful about that. And yeah, I tried EMDR therapy.
During this month and a half?
I think it was maybe 3 to 4 months after this event. So that was February 2024. I was in a bad place for a couple months there. I moved home. My mom and her husband, my sister and his son, we all live under there now, so we're kind of Brady bunching it. But it's really been such a wonderful place to heal. I didn't know that. You know, moving home was kind of not an ego blow, but I had lived on my own. I was gaining up all that independence, and I felt amazing until it all came crashing down and everything changed in an instant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, I graduated with a psychology degree. I wanted to get ahead of it and start therapy. I did a couple telehealth appointments, which was great. It was pretty easy for me to find two. I tried one woman and kind of didn't really stick, and then I tried somebody else, and she was a trauma-informed EMDR specialist. Do you know what, like, the function of EMDR?
Yeah. I've heard through someone, but yeah, you can share more of what it is.
Honestly, we only did 2 sessions, so I can't say. I don't want to say whether it works or not. I just knew that leaving the sessions, I would be crying during them, and so I'd had headphones on, and
if you're crying, it's working.
Yeah, right. And it was, but I just felt there was some resistance there still, and I couldn't put my finger on what it was. I was pretty introspective anyway, and just talking about it, I felt like that was not
like you didn't want to do
needle.
15 sessions of it.
Right. Yeah. And I think we were doing once every 2 weeks. I don't know. She anticipated a year long of this journey. So yeah, you're
like, I need something in 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. And I ended up finding it, which we'll get to. But yeah, so whatever. I was hearing beeping back and forth to kind of train your thoughts to go into a different pattern, like help understand why, right? Like we need to understand why these things happen to us. And it was okay. I'm not going to not recommend it. I think everyone should try different avenues to see what really works for them. But what really worked for me was somatic breathwork. And I feel like it's a new, like, up and coming thing. And it's, you know, I don't want people to think that it's a trend, because as soon as you hear something new,
it's
our
breathing.
phones are listening.
It's breathing. It can't be a trend.
Right.
If it was a trend, then we wouldn't be here.
Right. That is so true. And I feel like it found me, although I'm like, I found it through my mentor. Her name is Riley. She's been so incredible on my journey. I had never had a mentor before. She had posted something on Instagram, and I happened to see it one night. I was on the couch, like, taking a video of myself crying, just thinking, like, I never want to feel this way again. So I am going to document this. And, like, I'm not one that really has gotten on the camera or anything. And I just, through this journey, I've been doing more things that make me uncomfortable. But anyway, I hired her. I knew it was going to be a lot of healing first, but there was also fitness involved and mindset work, business development, because I had something in me that was starting to come out. Like I could feel that something was shifting and I needed the function of breath work to get me there. So she is a facilitator. We did one 45-minute session together that was so amazing. I think I was in my room. I remember another one really vividly that I did in my car because, like I said, I'm living at home with a bunch of people. And,
Like, what is going on in there?
Yeah,
She's
right.
breathing so hard for solo.
I kind of send out a smoke signal before I'm going into a session now. I'll just send the family group chat a message like, hey, if you hear me yelling, if you hear me screaming or crying, like, I'm all good. This is what has to happen. And so...
What happened on the first one?
Yeah, that one was, so you set an intention, just like we should do before anything. And I kind of had lost sight of creating goals and a plan to reach those goals. And so intention setting has been really big for me before meditations and breath works and all these things, even going to the gym sometimes, or like waking up in the morning before my feet hit the ground, like this will be a good day, planting the feet, going forward like that. So yeah, the first session was primarily focused on that fear that I knew was being held in my body after the robbery, because there were moments where I would, there was one night that I had pulled in. I was just with my cousin. We were hanging out at her house and I wasn't going out a lot. I mean, I was like a shell of a human. And my mom had even said, like, your spirit is gone. And that was devastating to hear. So anyway, I came home one night and parked in our driveway, and we had our garage door was shut. I had to get out and open it. It was maybe a 5-foot walk, and I physically could not get myself out of my car. It was at night to get into the house, my house. So I was like, all right, I know that it's sitting in my body and I need to get it out. And that's when I found breathwork. So my first couple sessions were really intended on moving that fear, feeling the fear first, which I think is super important.
And did you feel it?
Oh yeah. And I didn't know what to expect.
While you're doing the breath work.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what is somatic breath work?
Yeah. So soma means body in Greek, and a lot of what we experience in our life, traumatic or not, like you don't need to have something like that happen to you for you to hold on to things for days, months, years, long time.
Yeah.
Where it's just sitting, whether you feel it in your chest or you have tension in your neck, you have gut issues, that physical pain manifests from your mental, emotional pain that we experience. And it was a new concept for me to understand how energy moves out of our body. And that's essentially the function of breath work, is to tap into your subconscious the first 5 to 10 minutes of the breathing. So I'll just show you how the breathing is. It's belly, chest out. So kind of how we explain it. I've been doing some hands-on assist recently until I get my certification, but you're breathing out through your belly into your chest and then out. So it's over and over and over again. The first 5 to 10 minutes, like I said, are to get your body activated in that state where you can start to go deeper and connect your mind to your body, because as we know, they're connected. And yeah, so
is that also called the triactive breath?
I don't know.
Because I did a session with someone, my first one, 60 minutes like that. And I mean, I was vibrating inside. Like, she said that I held my breath for over 3 minutes. Because I believe you're supposed to then let it out and then hold your breath. Is it the same thing with this one?
Yeah, so you can, a couple sessions it was just that breathing, and now I think as Riley so she has facilitated all my sessions because that's who I'm currently working with, but she has introduced some breath holds, and over time I've even recognize like being able to hold my breath even longer than I can imagine, and that
Yeah.
release that you feel.
It was wild.
Yeah.
And the 60 minutes flew by. I thought it was only like 15. But
Yeah, you
going
need that
into it, I
time.
was like, oh man, 60 minutes of breathing. Like, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And then your mind is just totally not there anymore. And you're in your body. Like you'll get like these hits from the mind, but they're different thoughts. They're not like the scattered lower mind thoughts. They're actually like more like downloads, like, oh, I should do this, or oh, I should say this, right?
Yeah, right. And it's not who didn't I text back or what do I need to do tomorrow? Like you truly like transport not into a different dimension, but essentially that is kind
You're
of
like
what
in
it
between
feels
almost.
like. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
yeah.
And that's kind of where that's like what the subconscious is, right? Like it exists, but we can't just get to it. You know, we need
You got to do
something
some
to
work,
tap
right?
in.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and I know we talked about what we're going to call the podcast. And I think we talk about doing the work a lot, and it's probably frustrating it was for me. What is the work? What do these people mean when they say they're doing the work, or you need to do more work, or what is that? And my opinion is that this is one of the best ways to start that, because you can get real with yourself. You start taking accountability, because when you realize that the things that happen to you actually happen for you, you gain that greater understanding of why they had to happen the way they did. I'm losing my train of thought.
No, yeah, I just want to say more about that, because if you're having the thought where you're blaming others or yourself, and you're not in the other thought where this is happening for me, that's already the first step of taking like accountability. You have to do that. If you're not doing that it's very hard to even go into like other things like breath work or meditation, right? Because
It's like so uncomfortable to sit with yourself. Like you're not giving yourself grace, let alone others. If you cannot do it for yourself, you are probably bleeding onto others and maybe not even aware of that, you know?
Yeah.
And I am no stranger to that. I do feel like there was many, many years where I wasn't taking accountability, and not so much victim playing, but I do think a lot of people struggle with that as well. And when you take accountability, the victim mentality completely goes out the window. And during breath work, your ego also goes out the window as well. So
Yeah.
you can't really, you're like pushing it. It's like a push and pull between your ego and then what it really wants to feel, that you've pushed down and pushed down and pushed down over and over and over again.
No, I think you said, like we said, doing the work, what does it mean? And it could just be this breath work. Look, we're all breathing. Okay, there's zero excuse to not have 5 minutes to do some breath work, because honestly, in 5 minutes, if you do that breath work, you are going to feel much calmer, and then it'll be easier for you to do it for 10 and 15, and then you will tap into parts of you that are wanting to come out, like old thoughts, old programs that are just trapped in your body, and you ask yourself, why do I feel so low sometimes, or unmotivated, or I just can't quit this. Like all of that is because something is waiting to come out to allow you to be able to do all the things you want to do.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And it's interesting because what comes up during each session, like you can set an intention, of course, of what you are working through, whether it's traumatic event, grief, anger, fear, breakup, anything really. Like I do think that everyone can benefit from this practice. And like you said, starting slow is great. I started slow with meditation. 5 minutes was uncomfortable at first, then went up to 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And even still before breathwork sessions, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to do this right now. Like 45 minutes to an hour set aside. But every time I've never regretted it. And like I was talking about before with the therapy, I was leaving those sessions feeling really drained. Like the crying wasn't the crying that I have experienced during breath work. It's different because
It was victim crying.
yeah,
Why am I here?
exactly. Yeah, and it's coming from the crying during breath work comes from deep within, and it's
It's
beautiful.
soul release. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you're releasing an old story, the past. That's
Yeah.
our whole job right now, is to release the past and live more in the present and create the future.
Yeah. And like I've been saying, you don't need a near death experience like I had.
So, what do you think? There's a lot of people out there right now that are kind of stuck in between. And is there like actionable steps? I guess this is it. The breath work, just doing breath work is the actionable step. If you're looking for some change, but you definitely are like not in like where like you're in heart attack mode or you're going to feel or die or anything like that, but you're just, I don't know, you feel stuck. There's a lot of people like that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think the story I told about the car, me not being able to get out of the car, like I was stuck. Our emotions get stuck, energy gets stuck. We all are experiencing that, whether, you've had a perfect life, which we know it just doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah. And I do think that breath work is what can help a lot of people unlock their unknown potential, or that potential that they do know they have, and they just need to gain clarity on it, right? So breathwork doesn't always need to be because of something negative. Like if you are gaining, or you need to gain clarity on a new project, or even with my career now, we're kind of shifting focus, Riley and I, onto how to leave that.
How to leave paralegal, and what is
Yeah.
it that your creative side is telling you?
So I just went on a women's retreat, actually, that my mentor again hosted. It was her first retreat. We went with a couple girls from Cleveland. Typically, from what I know, you go with the intention of meeting new people and all of that. We all came from Cleveland, though, and had met only a couple times. But my intention was to almost celebrate this work that I've been doing. And we had many, many things on the itinerary there that I was familiar with, and some of the other girls weren't. So it was, you could tell on this like healing scale, I guess, of like where everyone was kind of at. And it was it was just reflection point after reflection point. The way that I like to look at relationships is we hold mirrors up to one another, and sometimes you're looking back at, and you like what you see, and then other times a mirror is held up and you're like, oh, I still have work to do there, or
For sure.
here's another accountability piece for me, or I would have handled it differently back then. I can celebrate how I'm handling it now and just recognize your own growth. So yeah, I went into the retreat as we were talking about career. I've been a paralegal for 8 or 9 years now, and I work for a wonderful man. He's an amazing attorney. I have great coworkers. There's equal respect all around. But the more that I have learned who I am and my God-given creative abilities, my dad's a creative. He's been a business owner his entire life. He does video and audio and music and all this production. I got that piece of it. So I knew that. I just didn't know how to channel it. And through breathwork, of course, that has become more clear to me that I need to be doing something that exercises those abilities. And it was so crazy. We can get into the specific things we did at the retreat, but we had a hape ceremony.
A what?
Hape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that how you say it?
I call it rape.
Okay. Yeah. I saw that. You can like call it one or the other. So
Yeah. And that was your first time?
no, it was my second time.
Okay.
However, it's
This
kind of
one.
a funny story. So
talk about what that is, though.
yeah, it's a snuffing tobacco. I don't know it as well as breath work, but it helps drop you into your body before a meditation, and you can take it on your own, or you can serve it to one another. So Riley was hosting this retreat, and she was like, all right, I'm going to serve it to you for the first time. She had come home. She was living in Bali for a while. She came home, and we hung out here and did some meditations together. We were creating content. We just were like, it was so nice to be around this energy in person, because all of our work has been virtual. Long story short, she served the hape to me up one nostril, and it was a very intense blow. So when we had done it once at the Solstice Steps in Lakewood before a meditation, and I clearly didn't do enough, although I did feel like I was dropped in to some degree. This girl, Cameron, who was also on the retreat, she's hosted retreats before. She's more of a female embodiment coach. She's another wonderful human that I've been able to meet through this journey. She looked at Riley and she goes, "Girl, you gave her the Jaguar." And I'm like, "What's the Jaguar?" So I guess there's like animals related to hape. Do you know what they are?
I mean, there's different kinds. They all just kind of do a little bit different things.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not super specific knowing on them.
Okay, yeah. So she had said that, and she looks at me, she goes, "Dude, how are you still talking right now? Drop in." So I'm sitting in a beanbag chair. The other girls who I think I was the only one that had tried it before other than Riley and Cameron. And I looked at them and like the last words I could get out was use your own discretion. And so what had come up for me almost immediately was just a ton of anxiety. Like I felt like there was like 100 pounds of anxiety right on my chest. And I hadn't felt that intense of anxiety in a really long time, like years. So Riley came behind me. She was, pressing down on my shoulders and just helping me drop in. And basically through that whole meditation, it was maybe 10, 15 minutes. I was working through that physical anxiety that I was feeling. But at the very end, I had my breakthrough, one of many that I've had in the last year, that I was in my office and I had this visual of me in a cage, like holding onto the bars in the cage. And I just started crying. And, there was a lot of crying going on at this retreat, good and bad. And I came out of it and I'm like, I'm missing the courage to leave this position that I'm in. It's not a bad position that I'm in. So I think that's kind
makes
of
it
where
even harder.
Yeah, right. And that comfortability just has gotten to me. I got comfortable and didn't want to leave. And I was a gymnast my entire life growing up. Like that was a lot of intense, uncomfortable moments, but I was always growing. I always wanted better for myself. I was setting goals. I was achieving them. There was natural ability there, but also discipline that I had learned.
To work for it.
Yeah, and I lost that into adulthood.
You got comfortable.
Yeah, right. And a lot of us...
That's what they're doing to us.
Yeah.
They're trying to give you jobs that you're comfortable with. It's hard to leave.
Yeah, and acting as if that's the only option. And I think that was kind of representation of me in a cage, right? Like, I guess this is my only option, but I knew it wasn't.
You saw yourself in a cage after doing hape rape.
Yep.
Only one nostril, the left?
Only one, the
really?
left.
I thought you were supposed to balance.
You are... Oh, you know what? She did do both. She did do both.
Okay.
Oh gosh, yeah. I was like, it was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah, you do both. I'm sorry. So yeah, I came out of that and shared with the girls. We did a lot of reflections, and then I'll drop into these other things that we did during the retreat. But I came home knowing that there was going to be some type of conversation had with my boss, who's so open-hearted, and I was still nervous though to kind of tell him. There had been hints that I was working on social media stuff and making money doing more creative things on the side. And he had called me into his office this past Friday. He's like, "Hey, can I pull you for a chat?" Love Island reference. Pulling me for a chat. And he's like, "It's not bad. Don't worry." And he's like, "I want to know about the retreat, how it went, how you're feeling." And that was my moment where I had a choice to either go back to an old pattern and tell him that things were good and that, I would feeling refreshed and ready to work harder and this and that, and just lying
little do you know.
him. And what'd you say?
Little does he know what's coming up.
Well, right. I mean, and I think that he knew though, because we are pretty open with one another, and has his own things that he's working through with his family, and like we've just been there emotionally to support each other, and he's just I have an amazing father. I have a lot of amazing male figures, like including you in my life.
Thank you.
Yeah, that I've just been around, and he's one of them. So I'm like, I'm not going to lie to him, and I'm certainly done lying to myself and betraying myself. So I spoke my truth. There were some tears going on, and kind of just let him know that I would be not looking for other things, but I have been tapping into my more creative side, and to kind of prepare for that. It's really hard to leave the legal field in 2 weeks, so we just had this open, vulnerable conversation about where I'm moving, and he was like, I want you to be happy, don't worry about what will happen here. Obviously give me some ample time, and we'll keep each other updated. And I think my point is, having those hard conversations is another way to continue propelling yourself. You have to put yourself in the positions that you don't want to be in, physically, mentally, emotionally, all of it. It comes up and it's difficult, and we don't want to do it, but we have to do it. Otherwise, we're going to live the same day over and over and over again, and we are here one time, as you know. So
yeah, Groundhog's Day. If you're living in Groundhog's Day, then you're stuck in that cage, like you said. Yeah,
it was scary to see that, and I think that's kind of what the anxiety came up from. I mean, my intention was to get clarity around what my future is going to look like, and I'm not going to sit here and say in one session you're going to know that. Maybe, but it has been a commitment to this growth, which is another piece that I really want to hit home about. Like, it's not something, and something by meaning breath work. You can't just do it one time and be healed. It's not a magical thing, although it does feel that way.
If you do it one time and you come up with, like what you did, a vision of yourself, better self, that's when it just starts. That's when this journey starts.
Yeah, and it's just one leap of faith, one different decision to get you moving and like get you unstuck, essentially.
Yeah. So it's worth it.
Oh my gosh, it has been so worth it. Like, it's so crazy to say, like, I'm grateful that I got robbed, right? But truly, that is, in hindsight, how it feels.
You could have been stuck for another 10 years going out partying.
Yeah, definitely. And that was the thing too. I really had to reprioritize. It's hard to reprioritize in our minds. We can, but our actions, our body kind of leads us, and we're just creatures of habit. And you need something to kind of jut in and allow you to have that reframe of how you're going to live each day and find that gratitude. And it's been a journey of finding gratitude in everything.
Yep. For sure.
Yeah. So.
And that changes from being in a victim mindset and energy to one of love, compassion, and present and future.
Yeah, you're not living in the past.
Right.
Because our body remembers these things, and mindset work is really important. The gym's important, eating healthy is important, drinking less, all those things that we think are the main ways to change our lives, which it is a huge part of it, but it's just one part of it. You need to get out of your mind and get into your body because, and I don't know if you've experienced this in the past, I know that I have, the mindset training only lasts so long before you go back down your bad habits. Like, you need to...
It needs to become one.
Feel it. You have to feel it.
It needs to become one. You're right when you say, like, you do mindset, but at the same time, it's not enough. You have to do body. Everything is in the body. Our mind is even in the body.
Yeah.
So if you have trapped emotions from childhood, which, like, I was riddled with them. I mean, it started off with 1 year old getting, like, we were traveling from Russia to Italy to get to the United States, and, like, a guard on the train grabbed me to search me for diamonds if we were smuggling diamonds. So it starts there, and then it
like, yeah, it's me, I'm the diamond.
Well, I never thought about that. Yeah, they missed it.
Yeah, right. It was right in front of their eyes.
But, like, stuff like that, like, how am I supposed to? I don't remember an event like that, but that could be trapped in my body. And getting it out through breath work or even like this, like talking about it is big. Like we don't share our stories enough.
Yeah, the reflection is a huge part of it as well, because that allows you to use your voice. And I think also during the retreat, which going back to the Epstein-Barr, it manifests for me in my throat. I know there are other symptoms that people experience. I'm not so sure of what those are, but for me, primarily in my throat. And I think all the times that I wasn't speaking my truth or being truthful to, to others or to myself, it was just my throat chakra. We say like bust your throat chakra open. And so my intention at the retreat shifted from like, all right, what is my clarity around my career? Like that was a little too broad. And through our breathwork sessions, our meditations, we did a Temescal ceremony, which I want to talk about too. And yeah, I truly believe that the Epstein-Barr has manifested where it has because, obviously that's a physical virus, but the mental part of it, that's where I'm holding my breath and not in a conducive way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have 7 chakras that are in the body, and the throat chakra is one that we're all challenged with. Because we've been taught to like follow the system and speak within the system, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stay within parameters, be perfect, show up perfectly. And when you show up imperfectly and use your story and show that vulnerability, and you're not doing it in that victim mindset, you allow others to also share their not so glamorous sides. And that's truly how we connect at the core.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I feel like when we first met, we were kind of going deep, like right off the bat. I'm like, I don't know if this is the space to do it in. So I'm just like grateful to even be here, sitting here, going through all my experiences that led me to being able to share this. It kind of feels like I've been like weaving this beautiful path. Like once you're on the path less taken, it is the harder path. I'm not going to sit here and say it's fun and hot.
I mean, I
and
think
sexy and like all this. But
but I think it's the easier path than being stuck and not knowing what to do. At least now there's adventure in your life.
Right, yeah.
Is it going to be like stress-free and you're not going to be living in some states of fear? And of course not. But you know that you'll get through them because you've gotten through them already.
Yeah, and you've gotten through your hardest days, and you know that you always can. And then when you have those functions like breathwork, like meditation, like working out, like being vulnerable with other people, that is how you get through those moments. Like we're just never going to be perfect. And when you accept that, you
then you become perfect.
Yeah, right. I mean, you make perfection out of things that are unconventional.
I like that. We do make perfection out of the life that we live in. Even like if we think we're not doing something right and we're stuck, at a certain point, enough of that is going to bring you to a higher level of awareness where you're going to get yourself out of stuck.
And quicker too, right?
Yeah.
So we're wasting less time sulking over something, or, I know grief is different. There's no timeline really on that. But again, just getting comfortable with the uncomfortable is how we can first recognize it and then decide how best to move through it.
Yeah, I will say this about grief. It's in the body. It's in the body. So even if you're grieving, and if you're grieving for a long time, then maybe you're not going in deep enough. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, like even through breath work, it's in our body. And then when grief is honestly kind of like the same thing as unconditional love. That's the gift that it's given, right? So it transmutes into unconditional love because then you realize that it's always there. Mm-hmm. The person that you're missing is always there because then it's out of your body, and the past is out of your body, and the present then it fills the present with that unconditional love.
Yeah, and just
if any of that just made sense.
For sure, yeah, and that just made me think of like how souls really are become present, the more in tune you are with your earthly experience, you can cultivate experiences with those who are no longer with us and like feel them in different ways, and they'll come to you because that channel is more open. And that
That's
kind
a
of leads
great
me,
point.
yeah, it kind
Yeah.
of leads me to the Temescal ceremony.
Okay,
So
let's talk about
we
it. What
did
is it?
Yeah, we did it on, I think it was the second day of the retreat. And again, like I can't thank my mentor Riley enough for taking herself through all of these experiences, not the Temescal, but the breath work, and like it found her as well. So yeah, we go to this beautiful little spot in Tulum, and it was a woman who was hosting the ceremony, and then there was two men. One man and one younger boy. He was probably in his teens, and then the other person was maybe in his 40s, early 50s, and a little bit of a language barrier, but it was, at some points, like we don't even need language to communicate. We can have our emotions and our releases, like you can just feel it. It's so palpable. So the Temescal, and if I get this wrong, I'm sorry, my understanding of it was this clay or stone womb almost is kind of where this rebirth happens. It allows us to reconnect with Mother Earth. And so you enter the Temescal a certain way. And I don't know if it's called a Temescal, but that's what the ceremony is. And so you sit in a circle, you go in a specific direction, and then there's 4 rounds of 15 minutes of slow breathing while they use different herbs to, I believe it's represent the elements of the earth, earth, wind, fire, water. I don't know what order it was, but the woman did the first round. And for some reason that morning I woke up, my grandma passed away last May. And so that was after the robbery. There was a couple very crazy events that also happened, like super negative things that I thought I would never have to endure. So long story short, we got rings with some of her ashes in them after she was cremated. And something in that morning was like, put on the ring, whatever. I didn't know if you could wear jewelry in it. It was like a sweat lodge. That's essentially what it is. So I put it on, we go in there, and then she's explaining to us what it is. And she's like, all right, well, we put these hot stones in the center, and then that's when the herbs are, pounded.
Released.
Yeah, different things like that. So
the spirit of the herb.
yeah, and they're called grandmother stones. And
Oh, wow.
like,
there you
wow.
go.
So the reason why I put this ring on today, I had that little nudge, or the download, as we like to call it, to do that. And so my intention was to heal during that first round. We would each say a prayer, was to heal my feminine wounds, like my lineage of the women in my life, things I've gone through with my mom, things my mom went through with her mom, and so on and so forth, because it's just so ancestral.
Yeah.
And again, the more open you become, the more you start to understand that and feel those wounds. And I almost think that me and a lot of the girls that went on the retreat, we are the ones who feel like we have this burden, but it's not really a burden to work through those ancestral wounds so that we don't continue passing them down. And yeah, so that was my intention for the first round. And then we went through a couple more, and I wasn't even thinking about my dad's side. My dad's father passed away a couple years ago too. And when the older man was doing his round of prayer, before he even said it, I felt my grandfather behind me. I think I was on my knees kind of at that point. You're on the ground in this lodge.
And what is slow breathing?
It was just to kind of temper yourself in there, because it does get really hot. So it was just in through the nose, out through the mouth.
Just really deep and slow.
Yeah. It wasn't fast, like tapping into your body. It was more connecting with the earth and your ancestors and things like that. So before he even said that he was channeling our fathers and our fathers' fathers and God and things like that, my grandpa was there with me, and we were honestly not super close, but I felt
Did
him.
you feel him, or kind of was it any visual?
It was more of an energy behind me. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like he was the patriarch of that side of the family. And yeah, I felt like he was kind of behind me, and it was brief, but I knew he was there. And then the guy said, yeah, we're channeling our fathers. And I'm like, we sure are. I'm like, he's here. And yeah, it was just really beautiful to kind of have that, male figure to guide us through that and heal some of those wounds for some of the women as well, I believe.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Doing the deep work, and we are all here to heal lineages. Mm-hmm. So that's why, anyone who's listening to or watching this podcast, I mean, I think there's a reason for it.
Yeah, no, yeah. And whatever it is that sticks with you, whether it's one thing I said or 10 things I've said, like I feel like I have been destined to go on this journey. I never in a million years could have guessed it would be in this way. But again, I'm so grateful for it, because as I graduated with a psychology degree, I knew that I wanted to help heal people. I just was so unclear of how. And then I got stuck in the legal world. And that taught me, of course, my professional skills, but something I knew that I was put here to do something deeper, and I was called to breathwork. And I feel like as I work through my certification, which my mentor, if she watches this, she's going to hold me accountable and ask how far along I am into it.
How far along are you?
It's an online course. I've watched some of the introduction videos, but I do think that through our experiences, like that's such a great learning tool as well. That's why I can like talk about it to this extent.
You're ready. I think you're ready to go.
Yeah. And her and she had hosted a couple events while she was back in Cleveland. I did hands-on assist at them, and it was so beautiful to see these women, and men were invited too, but women showed up. So I actually implore men to do this work as well, because you don't have to be tough, and you are allowed to feel these things, and you are so beautiful already, right? And just really feeling that.
If you're not doing this work, you're not tough. This is what makes you tough. Mm-hmm. Like the other stuff is just like nonsense, illusional
very attractive
stuff.
Work. So yeah, men and women alike can completely benefit from this. It was just watching these different releases and then reflecting on them all together has just been life-changing.
Breathwork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who would have thought just we hold that power to heal ourselves?
Well, it makes sense, right? Like, I mean, we're souls that are coming to Earth to do a lot of work, and we're given tools, like we talked about: meditation, breath work, working out, eating healthy, positivity, open-heartedness. Like, those are tools given to make the journey more enjoyable. Like, life is supposed to be fun and adventurous. It's not supposed to be like so hard and feeling stuck like you're in the mud for 45, 50, 70 years.
Yeah, it will go by in an instant if you are living unconsciously, and like that's quite honestly a scary thought now that I feel I'm awake, right? And like, what does being woke mean? It's like living every day. Is every day going to be adventurous and wonderful, and you're going to have like life-changing things happening every day?
You're in energy. Like, I actually, the past week, I've been very low energy, just, because you have to, it's give and take. It's a balance. And when you're low energy, you don't want to go out. You don't want to do anything. You just want to sit at home and rest. So it's, Yeah,
and rest is super important too. I think that's something that our minds, taking out the body work, our minds think that doing more, working harder, thinking more, thinking, like how to cultivate this, you will run into a wall at some point, because you have to establish that connection, establish it for the first time, or reestablish it if you felt it before. Or just believe that you have it, and knowing that you hold the power to be your own facilitator, I guess, is a way to put it.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
We are all healers. You self-heal yourself, not through a pill or anything like that. That's just keeping you locked up. We are. And through breath work. I mean, I think that says it all.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey.
That's another 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was good. I feel like that pretty much covers.
That does pretty much cover it. So yeah, I mean, I think what's your one, like, leave this podcast with this?
I would encourage everyone to sit with themselves in stillness. It is going to be difficult. It is going to be uncomfortable. You're probably going to hate it the first several times. I highly recommend meditation first, maybe on your own. There's playlists on Spotify. We listen to, in the mentorship container, alpha waves. That's what's suggested for meditation mostly, with headphones on, an eye mask on. I made a post about it just to kind of block out the visual distractions, and then any other outside noise, so that you can really like feel what your body is trying to tell you. You can go super deep during meditation, but just sitting alone with yourself physically, I think, is a good start. And then using breathwork, I will be certified hopefully in the next 2 months here. And Riley has left the country again, but I know she does Zoom calls. We're going to work together in the future. We've chatted about things, but we're kind of on the same level at this point of how we believe we can heal other people. So it'll just be more practice for me doing that. So I will be looking for people to facilitate individually or couples or in group settings by Zoom, and then hopefully in person. And yeah, I'm super excited to see where it takes me and where I can help it take others.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back on.
Yeah.
How do people reach you in 2 months for breathwork?
Yeah, so I will be starting to get a little more vulnerable on Instagram. It's hard to put my face up there, but I think this has been a good step for me to come and just tell the whole story. So maybe start here, but then through my Instagram page, it's just my first and last name, Amanda Tomecko. And yeah, we can chat there in the DMs, whatever you're moving through. I feel like I'm in a place where I can hold space for others to hear what they're going through, and as opposed to reflecting on what my particular journey has been, helping them recognize how they can move through theirs and what's going to be appropriate for them. I recommend breathwork once a month, twice a month to start, and meditation in between for at least 10 minutes a day, whether it's first thing in the morning or right before bed. I actually like to do it before bed just because I feel like I move pretty fast throughout the day and things kind of are always happening back to back. I like to stay busy, but again, rest is so important. So that's been a way to prioritize rest as well, even just slowing down right before bed. And
yeah,
so contact me on Instagram. My DMs are always open, and we can start chatting there.
Okay, there you go. Thank you so much for coming on. Thanks, guys, for listening. We'll be back soon.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Bye.